It's hard to copy and paste, but
And we're
We're
live.
ready.
We're live.
we're ready.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the ladies are all here. Aprylete, welcome back. And Ms. Astrology, welcome.
Hi,
Welcome back,
happy
Mr.
Leo season.
It's Leo season.
The
What do
mean
you
old
know?
lions. They are some mean old lions.
I love them. Listen,
Excuse me?
I know, right?
You know, it's not that I
Party.
don't love. I was in love with a Leo for 13 years, but
Oh,
they're still mean old lions.
All of us?
no. They're my
Leo
favorite
men.
sign. But
Leo
water and
men.
fire doesn't mix together, Miss Pisces. You should have never done that.
That part.
that part right there, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here because I've been going through it. I needed confirmation from you that it wasn't just me.
No.
Mercury, I'm sorry, Venus is in retrograde.
Venus is retrograde. Well, there's a lot of movement with the planets this month, but the main one is Venus. And so this is, I think for the next 40 days, a lot of us, we're going to be re-examining, it may be changing our looks. It may be rebranding our image in some kind of way, rearranging our bedrooms, wanting to buy some kind of new purchase. Those things are coming up for us now. And it is on an 8-year cycle. So I challenge everyone to think what they were doing 8 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Wow, so 2015.
It definitely hits home for me. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not for me so much, but
I
I'll
don't
go
know.
back and
Yeah.
yeah. I need to go back and do some ciphering and consider things. Aprylette, how you doing?
I'm doing. Thursdays have become one of my favorite days of the week because I'm here with y'all, but I'm ready for a cocktail tomorrow on Friday.
Well,
And
I don't. Let me just tell you for next time, I don't condone the use of an adult beverage. I really encourage
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really do.
okay, there we
Yeah.
go. We encourage it.
So maybe that is for us on Thursdays. We have adult beverage Thursdays.
Oh,
Yep.
say less.
Okay.
Oh, that's not what we're talking about.
I know.
Unless she got something in the top, unless she sprinkled a little something in the top.
No. This is just straight no chaser. But I'm not opposed to an adult beverage, so we will do that next time.
Next
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Okay.
For
All
sure.
right. Absolutely. Ms. Astrology, what would be your adult beverage of choice?
Probably wine, red wine.
You're a red wine
Yeah,
woman.
I'm a red
Okay.
wine girl.
So
Mhm.
you are on the dry side, or you
I'm a
medium?
cab. I prefer Cabernet or a good Malbec. Mhm.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
nice,
Okay.
Yeah.
nice. That's nice. And what about you, Aprylette?
I love a good red wine, but I prefer Pinot. And then for like a nice little happy hour, I'm just gonna do a lemon drop.
Ooh,
Top
my
shelf.
favorite. I
Gotta
love
be
this
top
too.
shelf though.
Mhm.
Okay. All
What
right.
about you,
Okay.
Sybil?
I used to be a white Zinfandel girl, but I like something a little heavier. So there is I forget what it is, but it's still.
Sybil don't drink.
No. Trust and believe. I put some liquor in this body. But my go-to right now is a vodka tonic. I just love
Oh, that's a
I
good one.
love just the coolness of it
Yeah,
with
it's
the
light.
extra limes and stuff
Mhm.
and stuff and
Yeah, perfect for summer.
and a
Yeah.
little sprinkle of a little
Yeah,
from the tonic, and yeah, so that's
that's
where
a
I
good
am
one
these
too.
days. Yeah,
Yep.
so that's where I am, and then like I said, if I'm doing whites and a white Zinfandel, but something a little heavier. I had where was I last week? And I had I was on the road, and I had a sangria, which was nice. It was kind
Mm.
Did
of
you enjoy it?
outside and
Oh
sitting
yeah, it was
outside and enjoying, a little happy hour with yeah, chips and salsa and stuff. It was really quite
yeah,
good. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, a good sangria will always do the body good.
yeah.
Get some real fruit in there. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, and it was like chock full of oranges and
Yeah.
cherries and some like
Yum.
watermelon slices. I was like, okay, let's do
Mm.
this. All right.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
favorite.
so that was a good one for me too. Yeah, absolutely. So I am not a newbie when it comes to this.
Okay.
I do like the different choices. I am my father's child, by the way. So
Okay.
just so let us talk about before we get to all the Leo season stuff,
Mhm.
let us talk business and talk about our What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. Please subscribe. It is absolutely free if you have not already. We would love to have you. Go to SybilWilkes.com, give us your name and your email address. We will have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning, quite early, about 6 o'clock Central Time or thereabouts. And we have a number of issues that we discuss: politics. We have social justice, which is written by our contributor, Coy Malone. We have mental health and wellness, which is Aprylete Russell's, it's her wheelhouse, as well as politics, along with Cameron Riley and his little sister, Quinn Townsend Riley. It gives us the LGBTQ corner. And all of these fine young people come together on a weekly basis and help us put out this newsletter. So we appreciate that, as well as Little Note Black History Fact from days gone by, the HBCU corner, and health and wellness from Cherie White, who is a yoga maven and gives us ways to not only to stretch and move, but to ways to look at how we are feeding our bodies as well as our minds. So there's a lot in there. It's chock full of stuff. And just want to thank you guys again for contributing. And then on a monthly basis, News Astrology comes in and gives us a look at what's going on in the stars. And so we thank you for joining us and in my season, Leo season. So Aprylete, before we get into all of that, let's talk about what the president has done and the Biden administration's plan for health coverage by the insurance companies, mental health coverage.
Yes, and this is very exciting, especially for a person like me that loves to go to the doctor, that's always in therapy. I think that this is super important. So they made an announcement on Tuesday that will pretty much force health insurers to cover mental health and addiction care the same way that they cover physical health conditions. And in this plan, this will pretty much help that back and forth situation that's been going on with the government and insurance company for years. So insurance companies have been legally required to cover mental health and addiction treatment since the 1990s. But of course, many of them truly have never complied to this. And
how can they not comply? If the government says you need to do this, I don't understand. When Supreme Court tells you to do something and people say, nope, not going to do it.
And it's literally because they find ways and different tactics not to. So they have opted out of many things. And a lot of, like, let's just say, for an example, there's a psychologist and they have a patient who is in their network, but who is out of their network. Mm-hmm. They can petition to get in their network, but some of those insurance companies are rejecting that. So that's how they're getting around not, being compliant to this act that was set in the 1990s. Mm-hmm. And then that act was also passed again in the 2008 because they had to keep on going to court for it. But insurance companies are really getting around
and they can afford to do that. They have the money to kind of keep it going.
Yeah. So they can afford to go through the loopholes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So this plan pretty much will crack down on those loopholes, right? And they will force insurers to pretty much reevaluate their networks and kind of work around getting adequate mental health professionals in their networks. That's the thing. So it's just like, it's the insurance company's responsibility to have a network of mental health providers. And as we know, there's a shortage right now, but they need to have adequate mental health providers in their network. So now they're accessible for people. So they don't have to pay out of pocket and all of these fees and things like that. So that's pretty much what the plan is as of right now. And so they don't have any specific consequences will be, right? But they did say that they're looking at maybe fines. Am I frozen again?
Yeah. Yes. So keep going.
But we hear you.
Yeah.
It froze me out.
Yeah, but you're good. You're good.
Okay. They're looking for pretty much finding the insurance company, things like that. So again, in the plan, they haven't done step by step on what that looks like if the insurance companies continue to not comply, but this will pretty much be that force. And so this isn't the first time that the Biden administration has put efforts towards mental health. We've definitely seen them invest money into the 988 chat line number, over $1 million. So they're making some steps in the right direction. Now it's just, what's going to happen? What does this look like? Because at the end of the day, there should be no reason why you are having to pay $40 to go see your psychiatrist and $20 to go get a checkup. Or if you
Mhm.
break your leg, your copay is
Because just as important the head as the rest of your body.
absolutely like health,
Yeah.
your health, your mind and physical, it should be equal. And so that's exactly what this plan and this proposal is, to make sure that it is equal across the board. And I think that it's super important. And I just encourage everyone to get involved, write your legislation, like just continue to advocate for that healthcare in that same in the same way that we have healthcare for our physical body, for our mental health as well. And if your insurance company does not have someone in your network, you can always literally petition for that and try to get your mental health provider, if you're seeking one right now and they're not in your network, try to get them in your network.
So that was my question, because it's usually in the fall of the year when we're called into HR and so you have to decide what your health plan is going
Mm-hmm.
to be. And so is it possible for us that are self-employed to go in and to do our due diligence and find the insurance company that works for us? And on the other side of this, for those of us who are on Obamacare, is that a part of their
Mm.
coverage?
That's a really, really good question. And I do not have an answer to that. But one thing I did know when I was doing one thing that I saw when I was doing my research is that a lot of the psychologists or psychiatrists or people that are offering this mental health care, right, when they are trying to, like I kind of said earlier, when they're trying to get into these networks, they're being rejected, or there's astronomical fees associated and things like that. So these insurance companies are really making it hard. They're like
Mhm.
really making it hard. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why? That's
So
weird. It's like, why would you make it harder? It
right.
seems like it would be a benefit for you to have people with healthy mental health.
Right. And,
Like,
and
Right?
and how it affects the rest of our
their
bodies.
bodies.
Yeah,
The same thing with
absolutely.
dental insurance. Like, I don't get
Yeah.
it. Why it's
Yeah.
not as, because it's proven that this is all connected. I mean, we're all
Hmm.
one. It's
And
all
now,
one.
Yeah.
especially in the world that we're living in now and how prevalent it is, and now we're actually talking about it, and the stigma is being, denounced left and right. It's just like
Hmm.
this is such a challenge. And I'm like, I would feel after 2020, right? That since it's a global, now we're really talking about mental health. Now we're really getting
Right.
down and dirty, with the conversations. I feel that should have maybe ramped up these insurance companies, adding more mental health providers to their network, or figuring out how their pay scale and think like whatever that looks like, figuring out a way, right? So
Yeah, you know what I think when I look at the sky and I think about where Jupiter is and where Mars is and kind of where Saturn even is, it seems like the best way to get the insurance companies to comply would be actual reward.
Right.
Instead, it would be some kind of reward for
mhm.
them that
Yeah.
if they are offering, a more comprehensive package that includes mental care and dental and all of that, and they get some kind of reward for it, then it would be
Mm.
so,
What's
if
in
they're
it
getting
for
rewarded, it
you?
trickles
Right.
down.
Right.
Well,
Right.
Well,
They
right
like
now it's just
they
like
like the trickle down.
they
Right.
right,
like
right
to
Yeah.
now it's
trickle
like they will
down.
get fined. So it's just like that's your
It's
reward not
true.
to get fined. So it's like you better
Mhm.
comply
But
or they're gonna start
obviously
charging.
punishment isn't concerning them. Like,
Because they
Clearly,
got the money to keep going and
right.
keep fighting it. Yeah.
it's so sad. It's so sad.
So let me ask you another question, and maybe we can find the answer to this one. If we already have a therapist and we are already in treatment and have sessions, would it behoove us to ask our therapist, are they aligned with an insurance company?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And then I guess that goes to the question, how do you get on their network and what that
Hmm.
looks like? And that will take us to do the due diligence and do the work to try to switch over networks. But of course, a lot of us, we have the networks that our job provides, or when it
Right,
comes to, like you said, Obamacare and things like that. So it's like, what does that network look like?
right.
So I think that we really just have to be on top of it, and
Hmm.
really, really do our due diligence. Can I say that word? When
Hmm.
looking for healthcare providers, for our mental health. And again, it's not just mental health; it's for addiction treatment as well, because that is
Right.
something that a lot we don't touch on, and it's kind of
Hmm.
like sacred to talk about and things like that. But it's for that as well.
And certainly, people the higher up in most businesses, the more likely they're to be they are in some
Addiction.
sort of treatment.
Yeah.
Really, really. I mean, they got the money for it, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I don't know. There's just so much to this, and it's so rich, and that's why I really wanted you to touch on this. But the more we talk about it, the more questions we have, and so
Yeah,
maybe this is something with the Health and Human Services Department to get someone on to talk about it as well.
absolutely. Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah, yeah. Well, good job. Thank you so much. I appreciate it,
yep.
and I do, and I've got more questions, as you might imagine. Uh, but the reason why, I have these questions is because I've been going through some things with my insurance company regarding my car,
Mm.
and in the repairs of my car, I found out what my insurance company does and does not cover. And so the repair shop goes for the repairs of they go for the name of the brand of the type of car, and so that costs more money as opposed to aftermarket, as they call it in the
Mhm.
insurance business parts. And so I'm going back and forth, and so what essentially will happen if I decide to go with the repair that I'm going with now. I'm going to have to put in some extra money in addition to what you have to
Deductible.
pay. Yeah,
Mhm.
in addition to that, so there's going to be more money, and so now when I do look for a new insurance company, don't listen to this, but it's going to be the last year with you. Um, then I have to ask these questions, right?
Right.
And
Mhm.
so these are questions that not only have to be asked in auto insurance and home insurance and whatever, but certainly in health insurance.
Absolutely.
And like you say, we got to do our due diligence in order to take care of us from head to toe.
Yeah, and like you said, and don't be scared to ask these questions. I mean, it's
Right,
before you even pick your benefit package, call up the who it's going to be with the insurers and ask them
right,
like who is in network for X, Y, and Z. This is what I need, just to
right.
make sure. And one thing I will say, my insurance, I'm with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and
Mm-hmm.
they have an amazing network. And they actually have health advocates that will find people
Yeah.
for you. You don't even have to do it yourself. You just tell them what you're looking for. They will do it. They will send you a list of people. So shout out to Blue Cross Blue Shield. So
Okay, okay. Shout out, indeed. Let's move to the rest of the newsletter. This is politics. Just always fascinates me,
excites
and
you.
and yeah, I'm the one. Okay, I'm the geek. I'm the nerd that likes all this stuff. And Rudy Giuliani, to no surprise of anyone except maybe Rudy Giuliani, he lied. He lied when it came to the election workers in the state of Georgia, two Black women, a mother and her daughter. He lied when he said that they were a part of an effort to turn the election results and flip it in Joe Biden's favor in 2020. A Black woman and her daughter were election workers, had been longtime election workers in the Atlanta area. And he said that he had the evidence to prove that these two women were doing uh, their business against Donald Trump and getting the presidency. And
Mm.
so they have taken him to court, the two women, Mrs. Freeman and her daughter, Shay Moss, have taken him to court because of what his lies did to their
Mm.
lives. And
Mhm.
when he went forward and told them that they were using USBs and they were passing to each other and trying to flip the election in Joe Biden's favor, what actually happened was this amped up all Donald Trump supporters and the all of those with the crazy thoughts in their heads about this. They decided they were going to take matters into their own hands and would show up at these women's homes
Oh
Oh my
wow.
God.
and try to get in order to do justice, their form of justice on behalf of Donald Trump. They frightened them. They made their lives hell. They would not be able to leave the house. They didn't want to have their names mentioned in public. They couldn't go to the drugstore and say, you have your we have a prescription for Mrs. Moss here, and then people would turn
Yeah.
around. And they went to their homes, and one woman's grandmother called her granddaughter and said, "You got to come home. There are people outside our house, and they're trying to get in." It's like,
And it
where
ain't
did
Texas where you can stand your ground.
right, and so they are taking uh, Donald
Legal.
Trump's bestie, Rudy Giuliani, to court, and he said, "Yeah, I lied, but he's saying I lied, but I don't think that it did any harm to them.
Well, it's like you can't be the judge of what they feel harms them. And
Well,
then
well, there's some harm there. People are showing up at their house and harassing
so
them.
like,
in
how can he
public.
judge what is harm? But what was his reasoning for lying? Like, why are we lying on these
he
folks?
refused to accept his statements caused damage to Mrs. Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. He refuses to take responsibility for his lies
Don't they
and
all?
disrupting the lives of these women.
Mm-mm.
And
And what was the
so,
person that he? I mean, why did he lie on them? Like,
because he was trying to flip the election in Georgia.
Gotcha.
Remember when Donald Trump called and
Gotcha.
said he was looking for the 11,780 votes?
yeah. So he just chose them two out of all folks.
Well, sure, because it's two Black women, and you know who more do they dislike than anybody? Are Black women.
Gemini.
Terrible.
And so they have taken him to court, and so we'll see what happens. But the bottom line is he lied, and he would do anything for Donald Trump, and he's shown his loyalty.
Admitted he lied, but don't want to take responsibility, just like
right.
Okay.
Exactly right. And among the other stories, as I mentioned, Aprylete, of course, with mental health and wellness. In the Black Health Matters section, metabolic syndrome risk factors rise as menopause approaches. Take a look and see what that means for us. The higher risk factors for heart disease, diabetes, and stroke increases more as you get closer to your menopausal years. And also an Alabama town, this is a coy story, an Alabama town elected a Black mayor, but the white folks said, nope, not going to happen. And so they have to figure out.
He won the vote?
He won the vote. And the white folks said, no, we want to keep our white mayor and our white city council members.
So wait, how does that work?
Right.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so take a look at this. Take a look at this story. It is hard to believe, but this is in Alabama. Where else?
Right.
And it could happen.
The other place could have been Mississippi.
Right. Exactly right.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a trip, and that's social justice for you. Let us now move to what's really going on, Ms. Astrology. I have been waiting because, as I mentioned, so much is going on in my life, and it's Leo season. I have a laptop that just went so crazy when I showed it to my Mac god. He said, "I've never seen anything like this before," and so I have to go to the Genius Bar tomorrow and have them go. We don't know. I've never seen anything like this before. So that is one thing. As I mentioned, my car has been in the shop, and I've got lots of stuff going on. And it's like,
why? What is happening?
What is happening?
Yeah. Well, one, and so I think you have a lot of Virgo in your chart when you say that, and you already are really close to that cusp of Leo and Virgo. And I say this because Mars is currently in Virgo, and Mars is the bull in the china shop that just comes and just messes up the things that you use in Virgo on a daily basis or for work. Like these are things that you just really use often. And Mars is here like, what we gonna do with this? And we're just like, yo, I wasn't ready. So it makes sense. And I think a lot of Virgos may be kind of dealing with that energy. One of the best things that they could do is just kind of slow down and breathe and try to take a deep breath and just see if they can sit this out. But I know when it comes to things like your car and your laptop, you can't necessarily. But the other part of that, it's Leo season. So I'm encouraging all Leos to really stand up for themselves and for what it is that they really want. Even if it feels like it's going to be a little bit of a fight, it's a little bit of supposed to be a fight right now. It's like you
stand up, Sybil. You're right. Yeah.
You can't stand up any taller.
I am standing.
It's like, okay, we'll get somebody to stand with you. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Get somebody taller to stand with me. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that's one of the things about that. I want to say something about the healthcare. A lot of people are making a lot of comments about the health insurance and that kind of thing. I actually think we are going to see a transformation in healthcare from that kind of capital, but it's going to be like another year. And I simply say that because Pluto is really destroying a lot of the old ways of doing things and tearing down those old, big, super powerful structures. But Pluto stays in a sign. It's been in Capricorn since 2008. It's not
Mm.
easy to destroy all these old ways of doing things, but it
Just like
can
that.
happen.
Mm.
It's just going to take time. So it's dipped into Aquarius where we start to see people rising up, people questioning, but then it went back into Capricorn. So now the people are kind of like, okay, wait, what do we got to do? Now we were ready, but now we're like, wait, what was the plan? We didn't have a plan. We just got excited. So now the rest of it's going to come to, it's still going to take about another year though, because Pluto moves very, very slow.
Mm.
Very slow.
Very slow, but sometimes the slower you move, the more power that you have. And so I think that we'll see some changes in healthcare next year. So I want everybody to
That's good to know. Okay.
But I don't think we'll really see any major changes until this time next year, honestly, or maybe even a little later in the year.
But sometime in 2024.
Correct.
Change is coming.
Yeah, at the end though. Yeah,
Okay.
we got to wait for Pluto to get in Aquarius, and it's at 29 degrees of Capricorn. It's going to stay there for another year, so it moves very, very slow.
Okay. All right.
So
what does Leo season mean? What is up? For
I tell people, I put a post on my Instagram the other day. Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun does not care if you don't have your shades, your cap, your sunscreen. It's like, I am here to shine.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. And that's Leo energy. It's time to shine, to smile, to create, to be proud of yourself, to go after the things that make you excited, and to do all those things that are really, a lot of people talk about kill the ego, but it's really more about nurturing your ego. You can't really kill a part of you. You know what I mean? And the ego is just part of us. It's okay to be proud of yourself, but nurture it and make sure you're doing it in a way that you're genuinely proud of yourself and not just being mean, which Aprylete thinks Leos are mean. It's funny that word comes back, and I was trying to say they're not mean, and I'm like, I guess being burned by the sun could come across as mean. So
we're
really
very gregarious, and we are very generous to a fault.
And maybe this is the part of Leo that I've tapped into and why I love them so much, because I let them shine, because I know that whenever they start giving stuff away, I'm going to get something.
Right. It's like you're on the end of it receiving.
Right.
And they are very generous sign. And that could be hard for a lot of people to applaud someone who you feel like is just being over the top. But sometimes it's okay to be over the top. Like, let that gift you have shine. Let that thing that you know about come out and be proud about it. Wear those crazy earrings or that, wild hat or whatever. That's big Leo energy. And even if you get a lot of attention, just smile and keep it moving.
That's why I think my best friend has some Leo energy in her, because she's bigger than life in a lot of respects. I am not that big in life, but but
you look like a Leo. Sybil,
but
like this hair, like all this my hair. This is very
Leo. So
and that part I do accept, but the mean part,
no.
That's hard. That's Aprylete. I don't think Leo is mean.
Not saying all all Leos are mean. It's just that mean old lion, it can come out. But I do have a question about the energy. So is Leo season, or all these seasons, are they for everybody, or do you have to necessarily be a Leo? Like, hey, I'm a Leo, or is it just like, hey, I'm a Pisces. However, I'm in Leo season and I'm kind of feeding off of this energy. What does that look like for other signs?
Yes, we all have all 12 signs. So remember, we're all like that chart with all 12 signs. But for some of us, there were no planets there when we were born. So that's because remember, astrology is all the planets. It is not just where the sun was. It's not just I'm a Pisces.
We didn't have planets when some people were born. I know I'm old, but I think there were planets.
Yes, there were. So now for others, there may not have been, Aprylete may not have any planets. There may have not been any planets in Leo when you were born. However, there is a part of your chart right now that's like, girl, go ahead and shine. Go ahead and brag. Go ahead and brag on that thing. And it may not feel real big. Like for some of us, like for me, I have Jupiter in Leo. So baby, you best believe I'm showing up. I've been looking so pretty lately everywhere I went. Like,
come on now.
Yeah. Like, cause that's how I show up. To where Aprylete, it might not be as obvious for you. You may be like, I want to tell him, I want to brag. I'll let it go. Cause there was no planets there. You're just going through a transit.
And is it because the Leos that she is referring to as mean didn't allow her to shine? Is that what?
Well, it's fire and she's water, so some of that can just get her boiling. Yeah. Some of that can just make her feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't want to get into your personal life. I just thought maybe that was something that that is a
Look, because
part
you
of
know
it.
how I am. But no, that's no, that's so interesting. But I will say I was having a conversation with my best friend today, and we were talking about like reinventing ourselves and things like that, and just the space and the fact that it's Leo season, and you're saying all of this literally
Yep,
has just hit it right on the nose.
it
And I'm just like,
is.
how do I want to show up into the world? I'm ready to X, Y, and Z, and the
Exactly.
feeling. So it's just like that energy. I'm feeling that energy. Wow.
Exactly. And the other thing about that is Venus, which is a planet of like beauty, our appearance, money, contracts, partnerships, commitments. It's retrograde. And so remember, all the planets do it. Mercury just does it all the time. And so it's that appearance of it spinning backwards. Like it was me parking my car yesterday. I'm backed in. The car beside me starts going forward. I'm like, oh my God, I'm moving. I'm like, no, you're not. You're in park.
Yeah.
That's the same kind of what it feels like
Mm-hmm.
for a retrograde. It's like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is very much a time to reinvent yourself, be proud of yourself. How are you showing up in this certain area of your life? I wrote in the newsletter that I think that the writer's strike is going to be an issue. Like this ain't letting up no time soon. And because
Mm-hmm.
Leo is a fixed sign. And so with this happening right at the start of Leo season and right at the start of Venus going retrograde, they have genuinely locked arms. They're very proud of themselves. They're very proud of what they've created and what they're doing. And they're with Venus retrograde, I feel like the writers are all together, like pumping each other up, like you deserve more and you deserve
I'm
more.
sure. Yeah.
It's Leo season. They are shining bright with each other at this time. And if nobody's willing to compromise from the big executives, the ones that are going to come tumbling down, this is not going to be anything that happens.
So they have to dig in other words, and wait for another season when they might be able to
Absolutely. Not
rise.
only do I think they have to dig in, I think they already have.
Yeah,
Like I think
for
they're
sure.
not.
They're strong. Yeah, the
They're strong.
writers and the
They're
screen
not changing their
actors.
mind. They're very, especially during this season. Now, if it would have happened maybe in Gemini season, they could probably be easily swayed to or fro. But Leo is a fixed sign. It's very proud of itself. It's bright like the sun, and so they're like, you're not hiding us because the sun's always shining somewhere. We'll find something else to do. You're gonna miss us. And so I think the writer strike is actually going to be a big deal.
And the writers strike as well as the actors.
Yes, anybody that performs, because Leo is a performer. Any performs or creates or expresses themselves and really enjoys doing it. If you're not giving them what they want right now, they're gonna hold tight. And this could even be people in your personal life that you're not giving enough credit to for, how good they're doing things that people want to be applauded right now. And sometimes you just have to applaud people. I know it's like, what do you need the attention for? What do you just give it to them? Like just don't want a compliment, keep it going. That could change someone's entire day.
It really can. And it doesn't take anything. Like, I'm gonna do the yogi to be kind. It does not
right.
Yeah, and one of my yogis one time told me it's not a gift unless you actually give it away. So whatever I have, whether it be my smile or a compliment, if I have a gift to give you, I can't keep it to myself. And that way it's not a gift. So just give them a compliment, give them a high five, go, hey, dress, all right, shoes. That can really make someone's day right now. And they need that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. She's not gonna say, "Hey, yoga pants." It really doesn't.
Right. Okay. Listen, sorry, y'all know I be big into the comments. So somebody wanted to let Miss Astrology know that I called it last year. Stacey Abrams is on her way to Howard.
Yep.
I told y'all. Remember?
You said academia.
I said she needed to move to academia. I said
you
that's
called
where
it.
I thought that she wanted to go and where she would do best and she would really thrive.
Hey, astrology.
Yeah. So if you need a reading, if you want to talk to her, hit her up because clearly you got the gem.
I told you I would tell Stacey if I looked at her chart, I'd be like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Because I don't think you want to do this."
Right. Yeah. But
so,
you
thank
did.
you for telling me that.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what do you see for us Leos as far as getting past this retrograde period?
Well, Venus retrogrades for
40 days.
Yeah. And it only happens every 18 months. So I think two things for Leo and Venus retrogrades in the same sign every 8 years. So 8 years ago, there was something that maybe transformed your relationships, your money, maybe even your looks. Something changed in 2015 to where maybe you got away from it. And now you're like, maybe I should go back to that thing. I was actually really proud of that.
Not a relationship, because in 2015, no.
It could be, or it could be a relationship with money. It doesn't have to necessarily be a romantic relationship. It could be an agreement, a partnership, a legal contract that you made with somebody. When we talk about Venus and to me, the sun is romantic relationships. Venus is just partnering. You could be in a partnership with somebody that you actually do not like at all, but it's all business and it makes sense. So it's more about a partnering in that way. And maybe it was just not the right partner, but the idea in meeting a partner is what worked. Or maybe it's beauty. Maybe it's, I was really digging this. It could be anything, this skincare. I was really digging this hairstyle. I was really digging when I was dressing like this and feeling comfortable. Maybe I should go back to that a little bit. It's different for everyone.
But it will take some time to kind of regress and to try to figure out where you were.
Trying to figure it out. Don't rush it. That's the other thing too. The planets take time. So Venus just went retrograde on the 22nd. So we're just starting to, maybe a couple weeks now, we've been kind of feeling it. So then we got 40 days. And then she's got to finish up to go through Leo. So this will take a couple months. So give yourself some time, but in the meantime, do things that you're proud of and do things that you feel really good about and let your light shine and throw some compliments out for. If you see somebody trying to shine, just say, hey girl, or hey guy, I see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Aprylete, I see you with the cute little
no green sweater.
Yeah, welcome, Mr.
Charlie
Charlie.
for money. I see you. We have run out of time in talking about this, but let's move to trending topics and maybe we can move a little bit more into this because I did send you a list of famous Black Leos. Did you get that?
No. Can we just talk about Barack Obama? That's the only one.
That's fine. That's fine. No, that's great because everybody wants to know what he's doing and where he is, and maybe and they're missing him too.
I miss him so much. I have a crush on Barack Obama, and I don't know if it's because
you're not alone,
Michelle, but I've never shied away from how much I love that man.
Look, no disrespect, madam.
No, Michelle, I love you more. I love y'all so much. Y'all. I think he's working on something. Mars is in Virgo. Mars is currently in Virgo. I think he's finishing up the details on something. He's doing the nitty gritties of putting something together that he's going to bring out to us here soon. He's a Leo. He can't stay away too long. Like he's probably now itching to get back out there and start talking a little bit more and be seen a little bit more. I do think that he's been working on something, and something is definitely going to show up for him. Also, his North Node is in Leo as well. So yeah, I think especially once we start to get to the end of Leo season, or even the end of Venus being in Leo, I think we'll see him a lot more. So as we move into the rest of the year, and I think he's also going to come with something new that he's been working on, that he's finishing the details.
I look forward to the political season because I think he'll be out there for President Biden, and and being a representative. For
he's
him
probably a little more buff. Maybe that's what it is. He's been working out.
Damn, girl.
Oh my God, he's gonna bring his skin is glowing. I can't wait to see him. I'm being good. I do. I love Barack Obama. Anybody that knows me knows that, though.
I love
you. Are so funny to me. Okay, so that is President Obama. Look for something new to come out, and yeah, I think that the people miss him, and they'll be glad to see him when he does go back out on the road, or whatever, because he's done, the Netflix deal. He's got a podcast. He's got, the books, and I don't know, what does he do? Get on, one of the spaceships to the moon or something?
No, he better not. He better just go get behind a podium and just talk to us.
please and thank you.
Thank you. That's all I think he should do, and I think that's actually is what's going to be. He's going to come with more of letting us see him and getting back into that charismatic and all of that energy that he brings. I think he's just going to get back into that. And you know what? 2015, that 8 years ago, right? That he was the last time.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Yeah, he was preparing for that. Wow, that's hard to believe. In other news, and this isn't great news in terms of where we were more than 6 months ago, but the Department of Justice has opened an investigation into the city of Memphis and its police department for alleged discriminatory policing and civil rights violations. They announced this at a news conference today. There are grounds to open this investigation now, according to the Sister Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark at the department's Civil Rights Division. She said the decision was not based on a single incident or event. And in this case, 6 months ago was the Tyree Nichols murder. When he was stopped by police on January 7th, they beat him to within an inch of his life, and he died 3 days later on January 10th. Um, this is a result of interviews with the community members that reported multiple incidents involving police officers and abuse. The investigation, as I said, is nearly 7 months after the January 10th death of Tyree Nichols, that followed the January 7th stop. And we all saw the video. Thank God for the video that we were able to see as Tyree Nichols was on a dinner break. It was just what a matter of feet from his mom's house when they stopped and did this. So this is good news for the residents of Memphis, and this will result in an agreement. Normally, it has. This is like the ninth investigation they've done in the cities with police departments in the various cities, and the aim is to just completely rehab the police department in the way that they stop, the way that they investigate people, and all the interactions with people, and hopefully bring about some civil change in the city of Memphis, which is a primarily Black city, a majority Black city. But it was heartbreaking to see 5 policemen who have pled innocent in to second-degree murder charges. They were subsequently fired, and now they stand as former police officers, but there may be more cases brought as a result of not only what they did, but the special police unit, the Scorpion unit that was devised in order to kind of have a leg up and have a violent tact and approach to the way they respond to people in that city of Memphis, Tennessee.
Am I the only one that thinks that police officers need more training, or at least some level of college degree, it even feels like, in order to be a police officer? There's, because even here in Houston, I have a friend that's a yogi who's actually got partnered with the Houston Police Department to offer them mindfulness and like and their own stress relief type practices, because they don't even have that. Like, you go out and you're dealing with criminals and you're kind of scared of people all the time that you're supposed to be protecting. How do you decompress? How are you mindful? And it just feels like that's one part of it that should be added to the police training.
I thought about that the other day, Ms. Astrology, especially we had a young woman on during Cameron's show, and she was a part of the group that selected the finalists for the chief of police in the city of Chicago. And I thought about that afterwards. I was listening to the show and because this is something that Yolanda, this is right up her wheelhouse, and mindfulness, and having someone asking, I wanted to ask her, it was too late, obviously, but to ask her, do they have a program within the Chicago Police Department which does encourage mindfulness and does have a sense of calm? And, like before we go on, Yolanda says, okay, I want you to breathe. I want you to, and smile and all of that. I'm not saying that all the cops have to smile, but there is something in the water there. There's something in there, and especially because the reports of suicides and other things like that, and also the way that they are shooting first and thinking later, and just taking that moment, taking a beat before you
I don't think there's anything like that from what I know from Jasmine, which is a young lady here that does it here in Houston. I don't think there's anything like that anywhere in the country. And this is something that she's really advocating to have all over.
I don't think there is either. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, sweetie.
So I was just going to say, and this is not, it's kind of like similar, but on this tip, there is a program called the CIT program that police officers have in their training for dealing with mentally ill or people that are going through challenges. However, it's not mandatory, but it's like 42 hours. And so since it's not mandatory, some of the staff may be trained, some of the staff maybe not. So when you think about programs like this, it's just like, will it be mandatory, or will it still be like you can opt in or opt out, because they have so much other curriculum and things like that in training? If you bring a program kind of like this, or like the CIT training, like what does that look like, and will it be mandatory? Because like I said, what I know about the CIT, it's there for the police officers, but it's not mandatory and you don't have to take it. So yeah, so if they do offer
I think it's when you go into the police
it
academy.
should be a
It
part
should
of
be.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like what
yeah.
Shanta Brown said also. She said in outreach to the communities that they serve. Because when you're familiar with the people in the community, you're not as
Right.
afraid of them
Right.
and not as ready to shoot. They become more of, you have an understanding. I think that's a great idea as well.
I wonder if people would show up. I think people would show up, right? But it's just like, wouldn't it be nice if they had the outreach and held something like meet your police officers
and like we were talking about with this woman, remember a meet officer friendly would come to our schools. And that's how kids were, unless you had a member of the police department in your family, that's how kids were first introduced.
Wow. Yeah. They should bring that back.
Yeah, they really should.
Bring it back for the grown-ups too, though, not just the kids.
And for the adults, like bring it back.
Right.
If you live in a small town or just even in a big city, I know it may be harder, but it's just like in your area, let's meet our local police officers. And that would be so nice if you do see them out, or if you do get
I'll provide the donuts.
Right.
But to have that, to build a bond.
And that's how it should be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mean you have to walk a beat on 100-degree day. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm asking you to do. But I just know that I wish that people could have known my uncles who were police officers and known them for the great guys that they were, and have them be in the police departments today, because I don't know that we have enough of that familiarity with them, with those people who mean good for us, Speaking of good news, Bronny James is home. The son of LeBron and Savannah James was released from the hospital. His dad says everyone is doing great. Discharged from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center 3 days after suffering cardiac arrest. Thanks to the swift and effective response by the USC Athletics medical staff, he was successfully treated for a sudden cardiac arrest. And he has been cared for and promptly by the highly trained staff and discharged home, where he is resting. Doctors still need to perform more tests to determine what triggered a cardiac arrest for an 18-year-old kid.
Such a baby.
Yeah. Although they say his workup will be ongoing, they are hopeful for continued progress and encouraged by his response, resilience, and his family and support there. He's been on campus for less than a month, and this is his freshman year, and the team was set to leave next week for an exhibition tour in Croatia and Greece. They may go. I'm not sure that Bronny will go unless he goes with some sort of medical care.
I don't think Savannah's going to let him play basketball anymore.
And I was going to ask you that as a mom, Mrs.
Absolutely not. There's absolutely no way.
If they determine what was the cause of this and they fixed it, would you then be open to it?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
To your son?
Absolutely not. He's going to have to pick a whole other field now. But that's me. One good time to scare me like that, and I'm done with it all. But that right there, no, I wouldn't even want to ever see him like run.
His dad, he's only staying in basketball so that he and his son can play a year together on a team.
Listen, can I just play in the house? I know they're gonna basketball.
You say take it to the backyard. Take it to the backyard.
Can y'all just play a game of horse? Like, what is it? Absolutely not. I wouldn't, but that's me. And and maybe they have access to better medical care and testing to give them more confidence. But I just couldn't see myself doing that.
It's so scary. Has DeMar Hamlin, has he gotten back on the field? I know.
No, he's back. He's back.
He's going back to football.
Oh yeah, he's gone back. They are in training camp right now. And as you know, your respective teams are back, and so
somebody said that's wonderful. It would just scare me, and I don't even know how the league would feel comfortable taking on that kind of responsibility. Like, doesn't that seem?
Well, there is a certain amount of responsibility. You're right, but they feel confident in their medical staff, and apparently he does too. And this medical team that he had when he had the event they have received all kinds of awards for their
Yeah.
ability to step
And
in and responding in the way that they did.
Yeah, another role would have been good as well. I mean, but that's what I was saying. If you have access to a medical team that gives you more confidence, then I can see that. But that
your baby. Yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. With all due respect to people with breakfast or dinner rules, I have always said that I love soup. Soup is my favorite food, and I can eat soup every day of the year. Even today on 100-degree day, I can
Is
eat
gumbo
soup.
considered
But
soup?
is what?
Is gumbo considered soup?
That's my thing. I hope it is because I can eat some gumbo. Oh my god. Oh my god. But this is not good news for people who like soup. Trader Joe's is recalling nearly 11,000 cases of their branded soup products because this is so gross.
Don't say it.
Slime.
They contain bugs. The
Oh!
broccoli and cheese soup had bugs in the broccoli.
Ew.
The Food and Drug Administration said in a recall notice that Trader Joe's unexpected broccoli cheddar soup has insects in the frozen broccoli flowerets. The soup is being voluntary. No, you
Yeah,
need
like
to
mandated, make
recall
it
Yes,
this.
right.
From their manufacturer, Winter Gardens Quality Foods of New Oxford, Pennsylvania. It affects some thousands of products of the broccoli cheddar soup, and it's 10,889 cases of the 20-ounce soup product sold at Trader Joe's stores in 7 states: California, Connecticut, Florida, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Washington.
Mm.
I think the part that's more upsetting for me is the fact that it was Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm wondering if
y'all a safe space.
right. And I'm wondering if it was because of organics and they don't
That
use things to,
because they don't
kill
use
off
things to kill the bugs.
to
So
kill the
they
got
just
bugs.
the
scoop them
broccoli.
right into the can.
I appreciate the, not wanting to put, the pesticides in our bodies, but I can't. I just can't. I can't.
What
Okay.
kind of bugs was it?
It's time to move to entertainment. Do you guys know who the movie star Lakeith Stanfield is?
Yes.
Okay, Stanfield.
Mhm.
He's in the movie that's the new movie Haunted Mansion. He's done a lot of great work recently. He is a movie star
I
on the
think he
rise.
was wasn't he in not Get Out, but he was in Us, I think.
He was in Get Out. I think it
Was it
was.
Get Out? It was one of those.
Was he the
Jordan
guy
Peele.
with the tea and stirring in the teacup?
Oh no, he was the one that just came running up real fast and then stopped
Right.
and then went that way. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Do you remember that, Aprylete? Okay.
Do you remember Get Out? Yeah.
Yes,
And
no, I remember him that with the run. I remember.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what he's doing.
So he has been he's had relationships, but now he reveals that not only is he married, but they also have a baby. The 29-year-old actor and his partner, her name is Casimir Trice Stanfield, broke the news to People magazine. They didn't share the name of the child or the baby's gender, but they did do a photo shoot of the Newport. Okay, so cute baby. What is it? What's his name? Ta-da is right. He's been very private about his personal life, but if you're that private, why would you do the photo shoot
doing
and
a
all
whole
of
thing?
that? Yeah. Being in the public eye, he says, can be something that's amazing, but can also be something that's very hard on you. He said to people, there needs to be things that exist that are sacred and not for consumption for everybody. They announced their engagement on Instagram late last year, and they're pulling the curtain back, but they don't want to tell us anything. I don't mind you not telling us. Like Jamie Foxx is back, and everybody, well, what happened? What happened? You have the right to not tell us,
And
until you're
folks are so
ready.
mad about that. They're like, "Oh, I'm taking my prayers back." It's just like,
this makes so much sense. I pulled up his birth chart. His moon and his Venus are in the 12th house of like privacy, secrets, alone, isolation, seclusion. But he's a Leo. So that's why he's an actor. He creates a creative, expressive, and lets you see him and perform and applaud him. But the moon is our emotions. And I think with his being in Virgo, for him, a lot of it has to do with he criticizes some of those kind of emotional choices he's making that he'd rather keep them private.
Right.
Like he'd
Right.
rather just.
So I don't know what his PR machine is like and who his people are. And so I was like, yeah, go. Good. This will be good for you. This will be good for the movie. Because it
Right.
is a big movie. Haunted Mansion is a big movie, a big
Mm.
feature. He is already a father to 2 daughters from previous relationships, including a daughter with the wonderful actress Zosha Rockamore. So good luck with whoever the baby is, whatever it is.
Well, whatever you got over there, whatever y'all
Right,
doing.
right. And
Some,
you and
yeah,
the wifey
CM
and
Williams said they don't reveal anything nowadays, not even what a person died from. I hate when they don't tell us what happened. That I just really want to be in people's inboxes like, what happened? Like, tell
yeah.
me. I'm just like, hey, I
No,
need to know.
Rosie.
We were
No,
having the discussion the other day about why people don't do autopsies anymore, and because maybe they don't want people to know what your loved one died of, but it's like, or maybe it costs a lot of money. I don't know, but there's a trend of
I'm not
people
doing
not
autopsies.
revealing what they had and what they died from.
Don't ask me to pray for you if I can't ask you what's wrong.
That part. Come on now, because I have to make my prayers specific. Okay.
Right?
Be
Absolutely.
specific
Let me
in your
make sure I
prayers.
even want to go to God with this. What happened?
Okay.
Tell me
and the God
now.
says, be specific in your prayers, right? Yes.
Exactly.
That's
I have
funny.
to know.
Y'all are so funny. I've had such a good time. Thank you so much. We're closing out with Yogi's Jewel, the daily inspiration. Asking for help could be the best gift that you can give yourself as we close out this week about asking for help and being the bigger person to ask when you need it. So thank you all so much. Ms. Astrology, you've made my
Thank
birthday
you.
month already. So wonderful. I
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. And Aprylete, we will see you soon. Ms. Astrology, be well. And everybody, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Aloha.